it's a power of universe. It's a piece of mindfulness also which I've been giving it to you. That when you say thank you, either your financial problems or your spiritual or emotional or mental health problems all will get sorted once you have a gratitude towards the people who you've been working with, the activities what you've been doing.
Hi and welcome to another episode of the People Hum interview series. This is your host Anushka at People Hum. People Hum is an end-to-end OneView integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the People Hum blog and video channel, which receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Rajat Jain. Rajat is an author, keynote speaker, storyteller, blogger, trainer, and a breakthrough author coach. Rajat helps businesses upscale themselves, train leaders, and help them towards building their brand. He's the founder of Floating Happiness Ventures as well as the author of the book Floating Happiness. His mission is to help 10,000 people become a brand. He's here to talk to us about building a brand, and we're so happy and honored to have someone of his stature today on our interview series. Welcome, Rajat. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you for inviting me here, Anushka and People Hub.
The pleasure is absolutely ours. Thank you so much for taking out the time to actually talk to people. So,
Actually, I'm actually honored and like to thank People Hum coming up with this sort of opportunity for lots and lots of people who are currently staying at home. I know you've been targeting the millennials and the HR leaders, and this sort of platform giving the perspective on the leadership principles and values will go a long way. So I like to congratulate People Hub.
thank you very much. It really means a lot. So, Rajat, diving right deep into the interview, you're the founder of Floating Happiness Ventures and you're an author of the same book too. So, could you just, in a nutshell, tell us about its ideologies, how it actually came to be, and the great work that you do there?
Good question. Great. Yeah, so Anushka, yeah, you're right. I'm an author of a book, Floating Happiness. This is my book, which is on mindfulness. So I do talk about mindfulness experiences of people who have already attained mindfulness and how they are really making their life beautiful every day. So this is all that book is about, and I'm very proud author of this book, Floating Happiness. But it wasn't easy for me writing this book, Anushka. So it was quite a long years. I was sitting on a fence. I was like wanted to write a book, but didn't have any guidance. And there were people who were not even supporting me. Either you call friends or the environment which I was into. The major questions coming were like, do you really have time to write a book? Do you really have good content to write a book? Are you really good enough? Are you not going to compromise with your family members or the activities you're currently doing by writing a book? So everywhere there was negativity in the environment, and there was no guidance as such which I could see when I was a very aspiring author. And that's how this Floating Happiness Ventures come into origin. I don't want a people like me sitting on a fence, because I strongly believe, Anushka, everyone has a story to share. Everyone need to share their story to the world. I mean, we all human beings fortunate to come in this planet as a human being, and we are all universe in ourselves. Give me a break that you don't have a story. Everyone has a story, and it's important to share the story. And the whole objective of Floating Happiness Ventures is to bring that story out of you and empower you. And that's the coaching which I've been giving it over here in the Floating Happiness Ventures. So I started this like 2 years ago. Started with complete zero people, no experience, but I did start. Today, I'm a proud, in terms of numbers, if I talk about 1,000 plus community, 100 plus active writers who've been currently writing a book, 30 plus published authors already who have taken my coaching. And as you were mentioning, I have a mission of bringing 10,000 people become a brand by becoming authors in period of 10 years. I know 10 years is something which I have taken a long stretch goal. It will not take that much time, and I will revise my target. But yeah, I think that's how this came out, and I strongly feel everyone needs to write because of two or three aspects. One is, Anushka, of course, it empowers you. It helps you bring your story out. It gives you a confidence in saying that, hey, I am good enough. This is one of the major problem people face or think or say, I am not good enough. Second is, it brings you discipline and consistency. It actually builds a routine, a really strong routine. And third, I would say, is it's a therapy. It's a therapy. So, when you're writing, you're totally in a in state of writing, putting your characters, putting your story stitching, connecting the dots. It's itself is an amazing, awesome experience. So yeah, that's how this floating happiness ventures that did come out. And my ideologies are primarily, I only take some of the serious people who are really looking forward to write and share their stories, do some research, and very result oriented. Anushka.
That's great. That's incredible. And I couldn't agree more with the fact that you said you need to write your thoughts out, and that's really what empowers you. Being a content writer myself, it's really relatable. And it's also great how you overcame all those obstacles and hurdles in your path and wrote your book, and you're inspiring so many others to do so. So, congratulations on the success of your book, Rajat.
Thank you very much, Anushka.
Yeah, most welcome. So going on to the second question, as it's more like a follow-up question, you've been a mindfulness trainer at a point in your career, and you probably still are one. And fortunately, one of the outcomes of this dreadful pandemic was that it got people really talking about the importance of mental health in the corporate world. So, how would you advise leaders to practice mindfulness in order to be their best selves at work and contribute equally and lead efficient teams?
Wow, good question. I think something very close to my heart, very touching, and I can go long and days I can speak about it. So yeah, thank you very much, Anushka. As you rightly said, I am a mindfulness practitioner. I am a mindfulness trainer. It's not that I was, it's just that I narrowed down my niche of mindfulness to writing. As I was mentioning it to you, that writing is a therapy. So I'm actually kind of funneled it that mindfulness is something which is at a higher state of a funnel, and I narrowed it down to writing. And as I'm again saying, writing is a therapy. We need to understand what is mindfulness. Mindfulness, Anushka, is I'm spontaneously talking to you. My past, my thoughts, my future, my thoughts, my anxieties are not coming. I'm totally with you. I'm in this moment. I'm enjoying this experience. And that is same thing which you get the feeling when you're writing. When you're writing, you are totally into it and you feel good about it. And that's mindfulness. Similarly, some people do face similar sort of a state in reading when they're reading a book. They just enjoy the reading and they're so much engrossed into it, they just love it. And that is mindfulness. Similarly, some people, in fact, a day ago I was driving, 4 or 5 hours, and I try to experiment this, that whenever I am thinking something while driving, there were potential accidents possible. The jerk comes out, you just try to hit someone. So when you're driving, you're completely in a conscious state. You're only driving, you're enjoying the nature around, you've been enjoying the driving because you're totally conscious. Same way, there are possible meditation people do talk about that you should do meditation. So meditation is nothing but a consciously being conscious. Consciously being conscious is meditation, and it's required because we as human beings do get 80,000 thoughts in a day, and that thoughts need to be cleared, need to come out of it. How they can come out of it? By writing, by reading, by driving, by doing meditation. So unconsciously, you must be doing mindfulness in a day as well, Anushka. There are a lot of corporate leaders must be doing the mindfulness as well. It's just that you need to understand the definition of mindfulness is in a state of being of no thoughts. And you just love that experience, and that's what I was talking about my book. The state of no thoughts, when you get into the every day becomes a beautiful day. Similar to the corporate side as well, to answer your question, there are two aspects which I feel, Anushka, when you talk about corporates. One thing is that many of the corporate leaders, and when I say corporate leaders, I'm not referring to vice presidents and senior vice presidents only. I'm referring every person who's been doing a job is a leader, so in their field. People need to know themselves. People need to be aware about what do they like, what do they really love. Once they know that what do they love, then every activity what they have been doing or they will be doing will be blissful, will be mindfulness. So if I love numbers, I need to be in an analytics job. I need to be in a business finance job. If I like, say, talking to people, interacting to people, I need to be in a training sector, training section of the corporate job, or to project or program management job. If I like something like yeah, so I refer to your numbers, interacting, talking to people. So I think it's important for you to understand that what do you really like, what is your value stack. Once you know your value stack, once you know what do you really like, then you will be in a mindful state, you will be loving what you've been doing. Sadly, problem is people don't know what do they want. People keep on shifting from one section, one group to another group, because they are getting bored. They have to get bored because they have not sit down on a piece of paper, taking it and mentioning that, okay, what do I really like. Once you know that, then it's going to make that leader's job easier, better, as well as their team's job as well, because that's the same message you are going to inculcate and percolate to your team members as well. The second aspect which I would share it with you here, Anushka, and to all your audience, it's important for people to do spend some time, maybe 30 minutes in a day, of doing a passion project, something of their passion area other than the job. So once you say, for example, you like reading, or you like writing, or you like dancing or singing or gardening, every day if you spend 30 minutes in a day, anything that comes to you the whole part of a day, you will be easily taken care, it will be easily taken care. So what I'm trying to share here is that every person who's been in the corporate industry, because other side of the garden is always green. Corporate people, 90% of people are like saying, yeah, I am bored, I should have done something of entrepreneurship. They don't know what is entrepreneurship. I think 30 minutes if you spend in a day on that entrepreneurship venture which you really like, what you really like as your passion project, then it will be a cakewalk. Then you can slowly build it, your entrepreneurial venture as well, if you would like to. But the whole day you will be in a very mindful state, is what I'm referring it to. If you are not able to spend 30 minutes in a day, it's okay. You spend 1 hour or 2 hours in a weekend. That's also okay. I think you will be waiting for that weekend to clear that, 1 week of grinding that you have gone through. So I think the advice from me to all the corporate leaders is that, one, you need to know your value stack, what you're really good at, do that. And second, you need to work on your passion project, maybe 30 minutes a day. That's something which I really huge advocate of, Anushka.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I love how you said you first need to identify where your passion is and then channelize your energy in the right direction. And also thoroughly agree with the fact that you need to take me time for yourself and do something that you like. Great, Rajat, great. Thank you for that enlightening response.
Thank you, Anushka. Appreciate it.
So, also in your experience, and you've had a phenomenal experience in mindfulness and your expertise, how would you say businesses can actually look to upscale with such uncertain times around?
See, if I share my perspective and my experience, Anushka, I feel two things, the two words which I really always call out to my students, to my prospects, and my customers. What you require is consistency. That's number one. Consistency. Whatever you have been doing, you need to be consistent in it. Maybe once a week, if I am doing my master class with some of set of group of students when I'm coaching, I need to do that week over week. It has to be very huge consistency required. Number two is competency. So you need to have a competency. And how do you get the competency? When you are consistent. Number one is consistency. As you're continuously doing that consistently, you will get to hear some of the thoughts of your customers, their pain areas, your prospects. What do they really look for from your coaching, from your entrepreneurial venture, or from your platform? And you will learn and you will improvise. Once you improvise that, then that competency and continue to do that consistency, it's a kind of a circle. Consistency, competency, consistency, competency. And you just continue to do that, then this upscaling will automatically happen. Because you are very confident now that, okay, I have already trained 5 students. Now I can train 50 students. I've already trained 50 students. Now I can take 500 students. That's something which I was referring that when I started, it was 0 students. Today I have 1,000+ people community. I'm looking forward for 10,000 authors become their brand. And as I was mentioning it to you that I know I'm going to revise my target because I'm into that consistency and competency. Consistency and competency. Most important is competency, Anushka. I can speak a little about competency because many times what happens is, especially in the areas of both the corporate leadership or the training coaching fraternity, people do not spend much of our time on the subject knowledge. It's very important to spend time on a core subject knowledge. If I am an author coach, I need to know every little minute detail of the author coaching. There are many times people do look for some fancy systems, show something, but they are actually not the right meat over there. So I always mention to my students, my prospects as well, that whatever you've been doing, of course, you need to be consistent, and competency is something you need to really hugely focus upon. I share an analogy with you. 2 days ago, I was outside and I needed to go and take a dinner outside. So there were 2 restaurants, opposite roads. One restaurant was looking really awesome. I mean, the look of it and the good brand, banner, very nicely written. And I actually entered into it. I said, yeah, this is looking good. The other one is not looking good. So let's go over there. Somehow, we always make a judgment. As you're driving, something really looking good, let's go over there. I went over there, not a good food. Food wasn't good. And the variety of food wasn't good there as well. The next time I went to the other restaurant, and that other restaurant, it wasn't very nicely good ambience over there. It was like kind of so-so ambience per se. But the food was yummy. The variety was awesome. Now you tell me, third time where will I go? I will go to the yummy restaurant, the food where there is yummy. So that's something which I am referring to you that this second restaurant may not have spent much of a time and focus on making the ambience better, but they know their competency. They know their game. They know what sort of a food people like and what sort of a variety people like. Once that is there, they can always scale it up. They can always make it much more better, much more with a further brand. But what is more important before upscaling is your competency. That's something which I would share as an analogy here, Anushka.
That's great. It's wonderful how you actually elucidated your response with that wonderful analogy for our audience. It becomes very easy to understand, and I completely agree with you. So you're saying the content and the knowledge matters more than what you show to the world. You need to have enough knowledge before you give. That's
Of
what you.
course, I'm saying both of them matter, but content you need to focus much huge. Context is required, context is important. You need a nice ambience, you need all of that. But when you talk of upskilling, you need to have a competency right. You need to have a content right.
Correct.
Context, you can always build it up. That's
True.
what I'm been referring, Anushka.
That's great. And it's also wonderful how you used competency and consistency to elaborate on your response. The perspective that you provided us was really enlightening.
Thank you.
Yeah. So going on to the next question, how big of a role would you think technology really plays in the leadership domain today?
Yeah, good question. No doubt, technology plays a big role, Anushka. In a business, in an organization, there is no doubt about it. Again, I would repeat, what I was mentioning it to you. Before going into the technology aspects, before going into the system aspects, you need to know your game first. You need to know your competency first. So, how I can share my experience with you. As I said, I started 2 years ago. I tried all the technologies. I tried tested all of the tools, all of the systems, and I learned it. And I realized it that okay, these are the tools and these are the systems which I need to use that will help me upscale it. And I got the success as well. I got huge success, and I started seeing a lot of uptake, a lot of customers coming over to me, a lot of author coaching, everything. But there was some time period where I thought that hey, I need to work upon my competency as well, further deep diving into it. Once that comes over, the competency too, then build a technology so you can be relaxed and can do something what you love. And that's where the role of technology plays. I share with you today, I spend 4 hours in a week to do my sales and operations. That's it. I spend 4 hours in my learning and writing in a week. That's it. The rest of the time, I relax. I do spend time with my family. I do give interviews like this as I've been talking to you. And that's all possible only because of systems and technologies. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. But again, a piece of caution advice, which I'm saying it is that do not start immediately with the technology. You start with maybe a manual process. Get your skin in the game. Try to swim. And once you see that, okay, this is the right stream which I need to take a swim for forever, for whole of my life, start building your systems. Start bringing the technology. So yeah, that's my thoughts, Anushka, which I would share.
Absolutely. So you're saying technology should be used more as an enabler than a replacement to the human aspect of leadership.
Absolutely.
Great.
Technology, in my point of view, is a tool, is an enabler. It will really help you reach, scale up, all of that aspects. But the intelligence, of course, there are artificial intelligence, multiple things coming over. That also has been there. But it's important to get into the core meat of what exactly you are. What is your value stack? So I know very well that I am an author coach. I love writing, I love researching, I love teaching, and that is something which I will continue to do forever, for my whole life. And once I continue to do that and spending few minutes or 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day, I think people gonna see my niche, my clarity, my deep knowledge, and they'll come to me. So instead of being the generalized one, you need to be specialized into your funnel and use the technology as an enabler.
Absolutely. So it's all about leveraging on the human creativity and innovation and using technology to ease out the process.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely, Anushka.
Lovely. Thank you for that response. And finally, just to wrap this whole interview up, Raja, do you have any final remarks you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, sure, sure. So Anushka, first of all, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me over here. And I really like the kind of work People Hum has been doing in terms of human capital management. It's important the role of empathy that plays either in terms of corporate or in terms of coaching or any industry as such. I would say my passing remarks is that two things I would say. One is have a gratitude towards the other person. That solves everything, uh, Anushka. Either in terms of corporate or in terms of coaching. anywhere, whichever industry. If there are people who've been working for you in the corporate as well, say thank you to them. And I think that word thank you, if you allow me a minute, I loved something, I read something very beautiful with respect to this word thank you. Uh, there was a story where there was a person who was in a huge debt, hefty, huge debt, the loans and debt, and he wasn't sure what do he require to do. He went to a mentor and asked him that, hey, can I get, this 20,000 US dollars, which was huge amount as a loan, and I'll pay you. I'm in a huge debt. I don't have house. I don't have multiple other problems which I've been facing on emotional side as well, because money plays a big role in terms of wheel of life. This person who was a mentor, he did mention that I will give $20,000 to you. I will definitely give on one condition. I would like to share. I would like you to say thank you. I would like you to say thank you, not one time, 100,000 times. Thank you 100,000 times. You can complete it in a month or 2 months. That's okay. And then come back to me. This person agreed. He had nothing to lose. And every minute he was saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this, thank you for that. Whatever he was been doing, thank you. Like I've been giving an interview to you. Thank you for inviting me here. You can say thank you for listening. So every time he was saying thank you. He never went back to that mentor. All of his loans got cleared. It's a power of universe. It's a piece of mindfulness also which I've been giving it to you. That when you say thank you, either your financial problems or your spiritual or emotional or mental health problems all will get sorted once you have gratitude towards the people who you've been working with, the activities what you've been doing. And second aspect, I'm a big advocate of passion project. So as I was mentioning it to you, whoever is your listener, the audiences, if you spend 30 minutes in a day of whatever you like, whatever, reading, writing, listening, watching Netflix series, it's also a mindfulness, by the way, because you are totally engrossed into it. But that 30 minutes passion project will make your whole life, whole day blissful. Continue to do that with consistency.
Great.
That's
Thank
what
you
my
so much. Thank you for that great response, and loved every perspective that you just shared with our audience today, Rajat. I appreciate you taking out the time and sharing out your views with us, and really hoping to do like a second lap of this interview sometime in the near future. So, thanks a lot, and you have a safe and healthy time ahead of you.
same to you. Same to you, Anika, and thank you. Thank you to you, to the People Hum who's been doing this noble service, letting the people share their perspective to the world. I think world is flat. You can speak to everyone all across. So thank you.
Most welcome. And the pleasure is absolutely ours, and hoping to stay in touch with you in the future. Okay?
Same here.
Okay. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.